Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone?
Hey everyone, it's Hayes. And you have seen the title of the video. It's true. Thomas Astruc, the creator of Miraculous Ladybug, finally has blocked me on Twitter. So in today's video, we're going to break down exactly what happened and discuss why Thomas is absolutely incorrect, like he usually is. Not incorrect for blocking me, I really don't care if he blocked me or not. As you can see, I'm pretty happy. I'm wearing my favourite dress. I wore this, my PhD graduation. I was like, let's put this on to celebrate this most auspicious occasion. So I found out he blocked me when honestly I was a little bit sad. I'd just taken my Dutch friend back to the airport, was walking back to the airport train station. I was like, oh my god, I don't know I'm going to see her again. When I got to the train station, I checked my phone to see what platform I was going to be on, see what I needed. When I got there, I was waiting for my train, I checked Twitter. And I did see the good news. My day was instantly brighter. I called my mum right there and then. I was nearly in happy tears. I posted an announcement in my Discord server. I was absolutely thrilled. However, while I am pretty happy about him blocking me, today's video is actually going to discuss child abuse. That is the reason why he blocked me. Not because I'm a child abuser. That's not the reason he blocked me. But the whole video is basically going to be about child abuse in Miraculous. So if that's too much for you, completely understand. I will see you in the next one. And for everyone else, let's get into it. And first, I think I would just like to establish my initial view of Thomas and how that evolved. So I got into Miraculous when I was 21 years old, and at this time season 2 had just started to air, and one of my friends on my master's course recommended the show to me. I didn't watch it immediately, but a month or so later, my doctor changed the amount of antidepressants I take, and she gave me too high of a dose to the point I was so delirious I couldn't really do anything. So I sat and watched Miraculous. I really enjoyed it, I told my friend, the rest was history. However, due to my age, which was 21 at the time, I'm now 28, I have always been older than the target audience of the show. Like I think for a lot of you who watch my videos, a lot of you started at the 8 to 10 target audience. You were that age when it first started airing, and since then you have gotten older as the show has been gone on, and you've grown out of the target audience. I have always been older than the target audience, so it was always a very different case to me. I think the show actually started when I was 19, but I didn't hear about it until I was like 21. So because of that, because I was already much older than the target audience, I obviously didn't really have anyone to talk to about the show about it. I really enjoyed it. I literally had 2 other friends who watched it. For example, Oscar, you might remember Oscar from some of the award shows and other videos we did. I think it was like during season 4. And I also had another friend, the one who originally recommended it to me. Oscar is pretty much down for talking about anything whenever. However, this other friend was always a bit more shy. She was absolutely lovely, but she was definitely more shy. And I remember talking to her once about Miraculous in Mandarin class, and she was just like really quietly, she was like, I know you love Miraculous and I like it too, but could you never talk about it in public with me ever again? So I was like, okay. So that's kind of where I was with the amount of people I could talk to about something I really loved. And as a result of my age and not having that many friends, I was very detached from the fandom. So when I finally started a Twitter account, I did indeed follow Thomas Astruc, and I had no idea at the time, because I was so detached from the fandom, what he was like. Other people in the fandom absolutely did know at this point. It was around like partway through season 3 I think I followed him, but I personally had no clue what he was like. And the first time I tweeted him was after the season 3 finale aired, and I asked him why Adrian didn't eat Kagami into the Sen. And he didn't reply. Very sad times, I know. However, literally 1 week after I tweeted that, I saw my first video of many called Thomas Astruc blocked me, why Thomas Astruc blocked me. This video basically, this is my turn now. I can't believe I get to make one finally. But I saw loads of those, and since then, since like midway through season 3, as I became like more integrated into the fandom and found out more about like behind the scenes of the show, like when I was watching the show it was literally what I saw was what I knew. I didn't know anything else. I have found out more and more about his awful behaviour on Twitter, most of which has largely been documented on the Tumblr blog, The Immaturity of Thomas Astruc, which I will link down below. It has almost everything. It's absolutely wonderful. And as a result of me finding out more and more and more, I eventually unfollowed him. I can't remember exactly when, but I know it was some point during season 4. Although here I just want to state I'm aware that Thomas Astruc does indeed receive death threats, and I've also heard, but I'm not sure it's true, that his phone number has been leaked online before, which absolutely, obviously, is not okay. If someone online is threatening to kill you or hurt you in any way, take screenshots, block that account, call the police. I don't know if some of you will remember, but around the time Wishmaker was airing, I actually had someone in my comment section harassing me, which they carried over to Discord and to Instagram and also to Twitter, and I kept blocking them. They would just make a new account. It was just relentless. I ended up having to call the police because they threatened to rape me. So like, absolutely is not okay. I fully support Thomas Astruc or anyone else blocking people who are truly malicious, because same, out of everyone I blocked on Twitter, it was all of this man's multiple accounts he kept making, as well as people who would send me leaks during season 5, because like, they were just doing it to be mean and stuff, and I didn't want to see that. Those are the only people I personally have blocked on Twitter. So while I fully support Thomas blocking people who do indeed send death threats, what I don't support is him blocking people who just simply disagree with him. And this isn't my first run-in with him before. I made a whole video about this before. I'll link it down below. But like I said, I don't follow him. So what happened? Basically, I found out that it takes an extremely long time for a team of professional writers to write a whole season of Miraculous. And I tweeted about it. I didn't follow him. I didn't at him. He found out anyway, still not sure how or why or whatever. And he was like, oh look, someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. If you didn't know, hi, my name is Dr. Hazel Victoria Clark. I have a degree in creative writing, a master's in creative writing, a master's in script writing, and also a PhD in creative writing. I'm also a published science fiction novelist with experience in writing for television and film, including working with an Oscar-winning filmmaker. So unfortunately, Thomas found one of the people in his audience who knows exactly what they are talking about. I document it more in that video I talked about. We went back and forth a bit, but he was really horrible basically and said I was lying. He didn't block me though, but now he has after one comment I made. So the situation started when I saw this on Twitter on Monday morning. So someone had said, we need to save Chloe from men who don't understand abuse victims whatsoever. And Thomas Astruc quote retweeted it and said, Chloe, victim of abuse, it'd be funny if it wasn't so insulting for kids who really have been abused and bullied. You should be ashamed. Now, in my opinion, you don't have to like Chloe to say that she has been abused, or just acknowledge it. I really don't like Chloe that much. She's fine. I don't really care, like, you know, whatever. She's not my favourite, she's not my least favourite. I'm just kind of more neutral to Chloe. I'm fine with it. I don't have strong opinions about how much I dislike or like a character. I've never cared for her that much. Prior to them ruining her character in season 5, I've never cared for her all that much. But what is categorically false to say is that Chloe is not being abused. What Chloe experiences in the show is both emotional abuse and neglect, both of which constitute child abuse. So let's get some definitions going here to make sure we're all on the same page. So the NSPCC, a UK charity for the prevention of child abuse in all forms, defines emotional abuse as any type of abuse that involves a continual emotional mistreatment of a child. It's sometimes called psychological abuse. Emotional abuse can involve deliberately trying to scare and humiliate, isolate, or ignore a child. And they also list some types of emotional abuse. Humiliating or constantly criticising a child, threatening, shouting at a child or calling them names, making the child the subject of jokes or using sarcasm to hurt a child, blaming and scapegoating, making a child perform degrading acts, not recognising a child's own individuality or trying to control their lives, pushing a child too hard or not recognising their limitations, exposing a child to upsetting events or situations like domestic abuse or drug taking, failing to promote a child's social development, not allowing them to have friends, persistently ignoring them, being absent, manipulating a child, never saying anything kind, expressing positive feelings or congratulating a child on success, never showing any emotions in interactions with a child, also known as emotional neglect. I will link that page below for you to go and investigate for yourselves, and if you are a child and need watching this video, all of the web pages on the NSPCC have multiple high paid options in case the person who is abusing you walks in on you looking for help. So it's absolutely a safe website for you to access. So from that list alone, in my opinion, what we see in the show, because Chloe is a main character, she's not in every episode, she doesn't have the same screen time as Marinette, but from that list alone, Chloe experiences humiliating or constantly criticising a child, making the child the subject of jokes or using sarcasm to hurt a child, blaming and scapegoating, not recognising a child's own individuality or trying to control their lives, failing to promote a child's social development, persistently ignoring them, being absent, manipulating a child, never saying anything kind, expressing positive feelings or congratulating a child, never showing any emotions in interactions with a child, also known as emotional neglect. So according to those lists, Chloe experiences about half the different types of emotional abuse that just exist. As for neglect, the NSPCC also defines this too as the ongoing failure to meet a child's basic needs and the most common form of child abuse. A child might be left hungry or dirty or without proper clothing, shelter, supervision or healthcare. This can put children and young people in danger, and it can also have long-term effects on their physical and mental well-being. Now, there are different types of neglect, so there is physical, educational, emotional and medical. As far as I'm aware from what we see in the show, like I said before, Chloe's not the main character. I don't see every single moment of her life like we do with Marinette. We see a lot of Marinette. As far as I'm aware, Chloe is provided for in terms of education and her medical needs. I don't think Chloe's ever been ill in the show so far that we've seen, so those two seem fine. And physically, Chloe is not neglected either. Chloe has a roof over her head, she always has clothes to wear, always has something to eat, a place to wash and to be safe. However, emotional neglect is what Chloe does experience. The NSPC says emotional neglect is defined by a child that doesn't get the nurture and stimulation they need. This could be through ignoring, humiliating, intimidating or isolating them. In Style Queen and Queen Wasp, just as two examples because it happens in multiple episodes, we learn that Audrey abandoned Chloe. We are shown Audrey won't even call Chloe by her own name. You could also say what happened to Chloe in Revolution right at the end on the plane with her mum, where her mum's shouting at her, blaming her for this, that and the other. When Chloe is a child, Chloe should be the one who was protected in the first place. Chloe's relationship with Audrey points to Audrey emotionally abusing and emotionally neglecting Chloe, and Andre also emotionally neglects Chloe, as he doesn't really care for her emotional needs either. He just spends money on her and never tries to talk to Chloe. And I know the common response I've been seeing on Twitter to that is, well, Chloe likes to be spoiled. Andre is a grown-ass man. He knows better. Do not blame a child for the actions of an adult. So, having grown up with my mum as a social worker who was trained to look for signs of abuse and neglect, I knew right away when I saw Thomas's tweet that he was wrong. And it's not the first time he's been wrong about his own show, but honestly I just usually prefer to leave him and make a mess of it. But to me, by him saying this, it's spreading dangerous misinformation about abuse and what it does and does not look like. So I replied and I said to him, and this is my only direct tweet to him, Chloe is neglected by Andre, which is child abuse, and is emotionally abused by Audrey. What Chloe experiences is, by definition, child abuse. There were a couple more tweets under that with people engaging with me. For example, a person replied here to say, hey, Andre didn't abuse her intentionally, and I was like, so? He still did it? And because Thomas was in the same thread, he did get atted, but that one where I defined child abuse for him is the only direct tweet that I made to him. So like I said before, I support Thomas, myself and anyone else blocking people who are indeed nasty, vile and vicious and send death threats and other horrible things. But as you can see by my tweet, I was not rude, I didn't dox him, I didn't threaten to kill him, I just told him that Chloe was indeed being abused by her parents. He did not reply to me, and several hours later, when I was at the airport, I found out that I was blocked. Honestly, I don't care that Thomas blocked me. I'm actually really happy about it, as I was at the start of the video, as you saw there. I don't follow Thomas, I haven't for ages due to his awful behaviour, and with the way Twitter now works, I think that Elon Pelon introduced after he bought Twitter, but of course before he broke up with his boyfriend, is that I actually can still see everything Thomas tweets. He can't see me, but I can see him. I just can't respond to him. But I can indeed still take screenshots of the nonsensical things he posts and respond anyway that way. So I don't really care that he blocked me. However, what I definitely do care about is that he says Chloe isn't being abused. Now, I definitely think it is possible that Thomas just might not be aware he wrote Chloe like that. For example, I didn't realise I did this in my writing until one of my PhD supervisors pointed it out to me. But basically it was the end of the supervision, we were just having a chat because we finished early. I was talking about my family situation, if you didn't know. So I have a dad in the sense that I was born from two parents. However, due to actions my dad has taken, I have not seen my dad since I was about 13 years old, so over 10 years ago, and I'm only referring to him as dad in this video just for the sake of clarity, because at home I usually just refer to him, if I need to talk about him, which isn't often, by his first name. Or if I'm not really in a good mood, I will often just call him the sperm donor. He's not technically, but that's what I will just basically call him because of the things he did, and just know, basically. So I really don't like talking about him. So as a result, so that I didn't realise, in my writing, a lot of the dad characters either aren't very nice people or just aren't there to begin with. There's no explanation, just a character doesn't have a dad. And that's that on that. There's no, it's not like, oh yeah, he left, oh he died, there's just no dad. Because of that. I didn't even realise I was doing it until we were having a conversation about our like personal lives and our family, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't have a dad, and my supervisor was like, huh, that's interesting. When I told her a bit more, she was like, because there are no dads in your books. And now she's pointed it out. I'm like, oh my god, she's so totally right. And I've really noticed since then, I do actually really struggle to write dad characters. I'm okay in fanfiction where I already have a template, for example, write Miraculous fanfiction and Marinette's dad's in there, or Gabriel is, or whatever. I'm okay with that. But for example, I find Gabriel far easier to write than I do Tom, because even though I can imagine like anything as a writer, but one thing I still really struggle to imagine is a good dad. Like, I can imagine dragons, things that aren't even real, but I'm like, a good dad? No. I find it really, really difficult to do. So I definitely think it's possibly one factor where it's very unintentional. He didn't realise they wrote Chloe like that and he hasn't just realised yet, which I think would be a bit silly, but I definitely think it's possible since I didn't realise in my own writing. So that's one possible explanation. But I don't know for certain if that's the case because Thomas is so stubborn that he wouldn't concede that she is the victim of abuse if he says she's not. Which again is an extremely dangerous message to send. So even though Thomas didn't reply to me, he did reply to some other people. So in one tweet he said, "No, neglect in France is the failure to provide for a child's basic needs. It's the opposite of what's happening to Chloe. Stop talking nonsense." So Thomas is correct on one level, is that like that is what neglect is, but emotional needs are a part of the basic needs that you need to provide for a child. And not providing for a child's basic needs, including these emotional needs, would constitute, in France, by law, intervention from a judge. As stated in Article 375 of the French Civil Code, it states that if the health, safety or morals of an unemancipated minor are in danger, or if the conditions for his or her education or physical, emotional, intellectual and social development are seriously compromised, educational assistant measures may be ordered by the court at the request of the father and mother jointly, or one of them, the person or service to whom the child has been entrusted or the guardian, the minor himself or herself or the public prosecutor. So like I said at the start of the video, Thomas is incorrect, like factually incorrect, about what constitutes as neglect in France. He also says there are no such scenes, as in scenes of abuse, no child abuse is depicted. Stop misinforming people and relaying false narrative. I know Thomas doesn't like Chloe, but he is, again, categorically wrong to say she's not being abused. It's even more disgusting that the original tweet that started all of this is actually from someone who has been abused and knows exactly what it looks like. So we've already proven in this video that Chloe has indeed been abused. Audrey only values Chloe when she behaves a certain way, like in Revolution, and when she fails, she is abused. Again, like in Revolution. But it manages to get worse. Thomas said, "Are you putting an equal sign between what Chloe experienced and Adrian, Kagami, Felix or Ivan experienced?" Which is absolutely disgusting of him to say. No one at all should be comparing the abuse that Chloe, Zoe, Adrian, Felix, Kagami, Ivan, even Nathaniel arguably, or any of the other children have gone through at the hands of an adult. It's not the abuse Olympics. It shouldn't matter which one of them has experienced the most abuse or what kind of abuse. It doesn't matter. I'm not about to start making a ranking video for it. No one should be doing anything like that. All that matters is that Chloe and some of the other children have been abused in some form, whether it's physical, emotional, or both, or something else entirely. And all of it is absolutely awful. No one should be comparing them, and certainly not the creator of the show. It absolutely diminishes the experiences of abuse victims by comparing them like that, saying, oh, like, sure, but like Chloe doesn't really go through enough to count as abuse. It's still abuse at the end of the day. It's still abuse. Like I said, he's pushing extremely dangerous rhetoric. Already, a lot of people do not take emotional abuse as seriously as physical abuse or sexual abuse, largely because there's no physical proof of it. But that doesn't mean that emotional abuse is any less harmful. But because of people like Thomas, a lot of people try to justify it. For example, in my Discord server, I don't like arguing with people. I like to discuss things with people. However, I remember there's one person, they were going on and on about like, well, I don't really like Chloe, but they were like, at the end of the day, she got what she wanted. She wants to be with her mum. She got to go away with her mum. I'm like, she got taken away forcibly by her abuser. I was just baffled that they honestly thought that was in the best interest of Chloe. That's why we have certain ages for things like voting ages, drinking ages, driving ages, because children's brains aren't developed enough to make those informed decisions themselves because they don't understand. That's why those things are in place. I was just absolutely baffled by that conversation they had, that they thought it was acceptable that Chloe got to go away with her abuser and no other adult stepped in to stop it. So that situation from my Discord server was quite a few months ago now, but there was someone on Twitter the other week who was, when this was all going down, went out of their way and made a whole thread telling people all the reasons why Chloe has not been abused, despite it being clear as day she is being abused. I won't read it out to you because I think it's disgusting that they took the time out of their own day to try and justify why she wasn't being abused when she is, and I've taken out their name and profile picture because they don't deserve your attention, don't go find them. But this sort of reaction to what Thomas said and what other people were saying about Chloe just shows that a lot of people think there is this like perfect victim of abuse when there is no such thing. It's really easy to say that someone who's been abused wouldn't do that to other people. For example, Chloe wouldn't bully Marinette because Chloe understands what it feels like to be hurt. But to be honest, whilst I don't support Chloe bullying Marinette, absolutely not, I actually don't think Chloe understands what Audrey is doing to her. I don't think Chloe understands what's happening to her. It seems like her whole life has been this way. This kind of behaviour from Audrey is completely normal to Chloe. And children who have been emotionally abused by their parents can often have a great relationship with them. The person that child ends up hating is usually themselves. At the end of the day, Thomas doesn't have to like Chloe. I know a lot of people say, oh well, you're a writer, you should like all your characters. As a writer myself, I don't think you have to like all your characters. I certainly don't like all of my characters. And I'm not Chloe's biggest fan either, to be honest. And Thomas doesn't have to give her a redemption arc. As a viewer, I feel like I would like to see that. I feel it would be very satisfying to watch if it was done well, of course. However, as a writer, and kind of like from the standpoint, like, if we're gonna redeem her, then let's do it, let's make a good job. But if you're not gonna redeem it, if you really want to make her this horrible person, then let's do it instead of doing something so silly and nonsensical as making her the mayor of Paris. That didn't even make sense. So if you're gonna do it, then let's do it. You know what I mean? Don't just mess around with it. Let's commit fully and do it. So like I said before, I really don't care that Thomas blocked me. I think it's rather funny. But what I do care about is that Thomas is spreading misinformation about emotional abuse, which is something that already is not taken seriously. However, I do think Thomas was right about one thing, that some people never change. Just like him. But there you go, besties. That was my video on what happened. Like I said, I don't care that he blocks me. I'm rather happy about it. Do you want to live stream Saturday? Maybe. I don't know. I'll see if I'm free. But what I do care about is him spreading misinformation about abuse, specifically emotional abuse, because a lot of people already don't even think it's something that happens. But anyway, I would love to know what you thought of this, if indeed you got blocked as well. I heard some of you did as well. Great. Welcome to the club. I don't know how he has like any of the fandom left, to be honest, after that Monday. But anyway, I'd love to know what you think of this video, and as always, if you have been affected by any of the discussions in this video, as always there are links in the description box, so please, I don't want you leaving this video feeling any type of awful way about yourself. If you're being abused, it absolutely is not your fault and it never was your fault, so please check out those resources if you need any help. So I'd love to know what you think. I hope you're all okay, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!